ECOWAS protocol on good governance and democracy. The truth of the matter is that ECOWAS cannot intervene in your state because your state is sovereign. Because when we look at military coup, people are not talking about the civilian coup. Civilian coup is a challenge in West Africa. Traoré literally brought Russia disinformation to West Africa. So if you ask me, is Traoré promoting disinformation? I will tell you yes.
Since 2022-2023, there has been a reversal of democratic experiments in West Africa, particularly Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Now, particularly in Burkina Faso, there's been an interesting trend. There's a lot of information out there about Captain Ibrahim Traore, and analysts have said this man is guilty of misinformation and disinformation. Particularly, they point at Russia. And I have in the room here, Austin Aigbe, one of those who has accused Captain Ibrahim Traore of disinformation. Mr. Austin Aigbe, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Why are you guys so much picking on Traore?
No, we're not picking at Traore. Okay. We are picking at the information ecosystem which Traore now finds himself. Traore literally brought Russia disinformation to West Africa. It's not that there hasn't been Russia disinformation in West Africa. The kind of deluge of information we now see in West Africa targeting Traore make me feel that he has become the signature of West Africa ecosystem as it were. Because there's a Russia disinformation mill in Ghana. So let's not say because it's Traoré is in Burkina Faso.
Yeah, but you guys have been everything you're doing. Now Al Jazeera, Premium Times, CNN, everybody is speaking on Ibrahim Traore, not even the Russia disinformation.
Because the Russia disinformation is using him.
It's using him, but you are almost blaming him for what is happening. He has taken a certain action, right? And whoever is spinning whatever is being spun, it's not Traore's fault, is it?
Fantastic, I like that. So today I'm going to go on air tomorrow to say that Mr. Diego has been involved in sexual assault. Will you keep quiet?
Why should I keep quiet?
Exactly.
So, no, but that's a different thing from...
It is.
Traoré himself has said some of the things being said about him, even as there are some things that come in languages. He sees himself speaking Spanish.
English.
And that it's not him. Yeah, he has said so. So what else do you want him to say?
So, you see, where he has said so, for instance, I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No.
No, then there's something wrong.
Exactly.
There's something wrong with your system.
My information, yes. So I have seen where he's telling me he's not the one saying it in English.
Okay.
And I don't believe it. Because Traoré doesn't speak English.
Okay.
So if you are speaking, if I know you too well, that you don't speak French. And suddenly, I'm getting a video wherein you are telling me in French that XYZ is not true. I won't believe it.
Okay, so why do you then believe when things are being said about him in English?
I don't believe it too.
No, but you are blaming him because one of the key arguments, even you have put in different media, and people like you, again, maybe I'll lump you with them. Because I have to accuse you guys of also disinformation. In that you are the ones also alluding that he's making certain utterances when he hasn't made them.
No, we are not saying he is. So we are posting disinformation that is promoting him.
Is promoting him.
That is promoting him and saying that this is false.
No, but people.
So we are not targeting. So if you ask me, is Traoré promoting disinformation? I will tell you yes. You know
why?
You know why?
Why?
Because the very foundation of this cohousing in the military sense, don't forget, the military circle is the owner of internet.
Yeah.
They are the one who promote information that in a way either to stop the World War II or the World War I, or to promote it.
Yeah.
They organize information, disinformation. Not today. We are just seeing an escalation of what started many years ago.
Yeah.
So they
led by the West, remember?
No, by the West and of course the East.
Yeah.
They were both. It was the East and West.
Yeah. Okay. Now but that's the point.
Yes.
For me, I say what Traoré has done. Look at Traoré for himself. Why are we continuously hammering on Traoré and Russian disinformation? Traoré disinformation. What Traoré has done that some of us praise him for.
Yes.
It's simple, or there are threefolds. One, he has thrown away the French, right?
Yes.
French forces, French language, and French systems. We are not looking at what he is going to do, you know, but for those of us that really support him, we are not supporting him because we are not afraid of dictatorship. Dictatorship is possible, but you have to be a people, a free people, before you can talk of democracy.
And you know, I read piece around benevolent dictator, and people say no. For instance, Paul Kagame is a benevolent dictator, and people say, but he runs an election, and he argues that what
just like Museveni, just like Biya.
I assume that Biya is your friend.
Yeah. Why?
I just assume
he looks like me,
even though the PS is not there. So you see what is happening to Traoré is that 3 military, in fact 4, because let's not remove Guinea Conakry.
Yeah, Guinea Conakry.
There are 4 military regimes in West Africa today.
Yeah.
Even though we also know there are many civilian
dictatorships.
Dictator regimes.
Yeah.
Because you can talk about Côte d'Ivoire, even though it changed the constitution and continued to perpetuate itself with power, which we also criticize.
We don't hear those criticisms loud enough.
Wademos is big on term limit, and we have been pursuing ECOWAS on term limit.
Wademos and many civil society groups say a democracy, no matter how flawed, is better. Hitler was a democracy. Hitler's Germany was a democracy, right? How do you say a democracy, no matter how flawed, is better than a military regime?
So Hitler was not. Hitler was a dictator, not elected. Was a military man.
No, but he was elected. He had election. You know, he had all his army and all of it.
Just like Traoré.
No, but the point is this: you cannot just say. I mean, like there has been this focus. They say, "Oh, let's focus on institutions." Look at the slide in the United States. Institutions were strong and all of that, but what are you seeing today? And we're not saying no to democracy. So
you see those institutions in the US you're talking about?
Yes.
It's actually the reason why the US has not slided beyond what you see today. The Supreme Court.
3 months down the line.
Arguably, the US Constitution does not have term limits. Many people don't know. It's a conventional 2-term.
Okay.
They don't have the kind of constitution we have in Nigeria where you have this bulky constitution. First Amendment, Second Amendment. So that is why the guy in Capitol Hill was talking about a 3rd term for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That he was going to push it. Because you have to then change the constitution, but that's not what is written down as in black and white.
Oh, it's not written?
It's not. The US, it's just like the UK constitution. Many people have not seen the UK constitution. Most of the things that talk about rules in the UK are not written down.
Yeah.
They are convention, they live in. The people know that this is it.
Yeah.
So you don't go beyond this. I'm not too sure about traffic rules in the UK, but I will use that as an example. Let's assume that the traffic rule does not say you must break the red light. You must run over the red light.
Yeah.
But people know by way of convention that you don't run over. So when they get to the red light, even if it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m., they stop until the red light turns green. In Nigeria, even though such legislative provision exists, people still get to the red light and move on, and then the police will tell you, you stop for red light in the night, are you crazy? Because of crime.
Yeah.
So now let's come back to West Africa.
Yeah.
Traoré understands this principle. He's more of a Russian trained soldier. even though he also benefited from the French system. So he understood French system to the point that he knew taking over power, the French would come for him.
Yeah.
So he technically, which is a fantastic one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an intelligent officer.
Yeah.
I like the guy. I like him for the things he has done, particularly when you look at France Afrique in West Africa.
Yeah.
All of the trauma and all that happened. Yeah. Yes, it is okay. But to perpetuate yourself in power, you have to go extra mile in pushing information to the people, to the point that the information, where we call, at some point we say information deluge, that the people no longer, anything they see, they just believe, without now recalling that, are you even sure? People are not talking about the abuse of human rights in Burkina Faso. People are not talking about the kind of, I know there are development. I mean, I love development. At some point, I posted recently, I said, the threshold between development in Burkina, in Rwanda, and the people's freedom, and of course, the people's development, the ratio is a bit low. There's development, but the people are not developing.
The people are not developing.
So why?
And I was going to come to that.
Fear of the dictator.
Fear of the dictator that is organizing elections with no term limits.
With no term limit to go. Fear of the dictator that you can see, wake up in the morning, the house you saw 2 days ago or 3 days ago that was old is now new.
Yeah.
Fear of the dictator. So development, they prioritize development over human development.
Yeah.
So at some point, when that dictator exits that landscape, you are back to square one.
Exactly.
Because that's the fear of dictatorship. Dictators will force you to accept what they have, will do everything. Let's not go to Rwanda. Let's stay in Nigeria. I mean, I was big enough, old enough to understand Abacha administration. I love Abacha. And I'm telling you this.
You love Abacha?
I like Abacha administration.
Why?
Because of what he did. He did a lot of...
He killed Ken Saro-Wiwa, remember?
Now you are talking about those human rights that people are not talking about.
No. The point I'm making is this. You are loving Abacha because you want to overlook certain things. But what we are seeing is also... What I think I accuse you guys of is you are cherry picking and say we don't want to look at the fact that Traoré removed France and French soldiers and French systems, installed national languages in Burkina Faso. You know, he has done a lot of things, right? Already, that should make you commend him. Right?
I'm not sure I'm not sure. Maybe that's a misconception.
No, it's not a misconception because the majority of things you post or repost are saying that, oh, look at disinformation. Oh, look at Traoré. This guy should concentrate on governance and stop concentrating on disinformation.
I get where you're going.
Yes.
So now, you are a journalist.
Yes.
Which news says more?
Well, of course, negative news.
So your media exists.
Yeah.
To promote the negative side to make more money. I'm not a media person.
But you are promoting the negative sides of Traoré.
Media. I use the word media.
Yeah.
So maybe just to put it straight, I posted the information about Traoré's declining the 200 mosque proposal by Saudi Arabia in good faith, because I thought it was the best. I thought that why would Saudi Arabia not build schools? Why would they not build hospitals? Why would they not engage in human capacity development? Why would they build mosques? Until I discovered that it was also fake. So I ended up, in an attempt to promote someone, I was promoting fake.
Yeah.
So why am I saying this?
So even you, the organ of disinformation and misinformation, you fell for it, right?
No, I didn't fall for it. I love it. You see, that's where biases comes in disinformation. We all... when I teach disinformation, country and all of that, I tell people, and the first question I ask in my class is, how many of you have posted fake news? Nobody will raise up their hand. Because people don't accept they posted fake news.
And because we've stigmatized fake news.
No, people don't know. It's a biased thing. So the thing is that if you are a Christian, there are certain biases that you have been built up with from the foundation of your life.
Yeah.
From your credo age, you have been told something about Jesus. And the other individual is a Muslim, has been trained to believe Muhammad is the prophet directly to God. So when a conversation about Jesus crosses both of you, maybe you get information about Muhammad, you are not going to speak well because you feel that your own belief is Jesus is biased.
Yeah.
It's something that it's not a one-day phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's something that you have been trained with. So as fact checkers, just if fact checkers can post what is called false and eventually realizes that it was not false, you can then wonder. Our biases comes in. This guy, when he took over, I mean, not this guy, President Traoré, with all due respect to the position.
Yeah.
When he took over power,
does he address himself as president?
I think they made him president now. I mean, they came together and said, it's Captain Traoré, but the same thing has happened in Mali. Niger has also, I think it began with Niger. Mali has now become the president. I think he himself, there's organizing to make him president for 5 years. And they set that on. But let me call him Captain Traoré for the benefit of the uniform. When he took over power, you recall he also overthrew a military leader.
Yes.
So he didn't just directly overthrow civilian.
Yes.
Even though the guy Campore had his own issues, trying to elongate his tenure in office, and eventually, as former President Goodluck Jonathan said, that he advised him, do not elongate your tenure. And he went ahead to elongate his tenure, and suddenly there was a military regime based on the citizens who went against that proposal and eventually had to flee the country to Côte d'Ivoire and all that. So let's put that aside. When he took over as military head of state, one, I love because he was young. I love because he got some idea on how best to run an administration by saying, keeping French here, I won't last long. So you kick them out as quickly as possible. If you see that guy, he doesn't shake hand with your bare hand. He doesn't shake hand with. He has a glove on perpetually because he knows that shaking hand is also a weapon that can be of. So if you check the guy. Sorry, I kept using the guy.
Where is the guy? The young man.
I senior him, man. Just for people to know that I senior him.
You see,
more than 10 years anyway.
Wow.
But I love his audacity. Because as someone who has also benefited from some military training, I love his audacity. I love the way I sees the pistol right by his side. No military head, even Abacha, if he had a pistol on him, is hidden. Well, no, I mean, we've seen military head of state in Nigeria. No one ever had a pistol by his side. He
was even in Ghana
with a pistol. And he got it to where you are supposedly Democrats with a pistol because you invited him. So he had to come on. And he came in with his full military regalia. His oblis with the rifle and everything because you invited him. I like that because he understands that staying alone, he will soon be cut off. And in an attempt to make that story look real, whether it's true or false, I don't know. And you see this guy's peddling information is the one, some will say he has survived 10 coup, he has survived 15, others will say 18. The last one is he survived 20. So people no longer know which one he has
survived.
Because it tells you the most recent one that they organized something, the guy took the money and brought the money to him and yet you see claim you arrested some people. In this, you are two information that doesn't correlate.
All right.
One is that they came to meet you. The other is that you caught them. I mean.
Okay, this is getting very hot. We'll be right back. We want to continue this conversation with Austin Aigbe about disinformation. We will also come and talk about democracy and the role of ECOWAS, because Wademos is a civil society coalition. What are they saying about democracy in West Africa? Is it on the decline or increasing, getting better?
In a world filled with impactful stories and transformative experiences, the essence of change is vital. That's where we come in. With over 16 years of experience shooting documentaries, we specialize in productions for local and international non-governmental organizations. Our focus is on showcasing the results and impacts of non-profit intervention on individuals, institutions, and society. We capture the success stories that emerge from these interventions, allowing project management experts to focus on designing projects with the greatest value to the beneficiaries. beneficiaries. Our skilled team of filmmakers, storytellers, and technicians serve as a powerful tool, raising awareness, fostering empathy, and mobilizing support for the cause that truly matters. If you are a non-governmental organization looking to amplify your impact through compelling storytelling, let us bring your success story to life, ensuring that the world hear the voices that deserves to be heard.
Connect with us by sending an email to info@isumedia.net.ng for more interesting updates. Follow us on our social media platforms @ISUmedia. Isu Media, ocean of ideas. All right, welcome back. For those of you who are watching us on YouTube, thanks for sharing and thanks for staying with us. Democracy in West Africa. 4 states, Guinea-Conakry, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, are under military rule. And then the others, we are also still seeing there is increasing dictatorship. Serap just warned 2 days ago that Nigeria should stop weaponizing the Cybercrime Act, for instance. These are all part of these whole things that have come on us as a result of technology. The Cybercrime Act that came to protect us is now being used against us. What are you saying about the democratic situation as Wademos? What do you?
So generally, outside, maybe I remove Ghana and of course maybe Senegal.
Yeah.
Democratic institutions in West Africa is nosediving.
Yeah.
To the point that it's becoming a challenge. I just talked a few minutes ago about the coup in Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
What happened was someone who thought that it was loved by the people.
Yeah.
And you know how politicians do? They will go and organize some critical mass of people to protest that they want you as third term. And then you are talking internationally and saying, I don't want to contest, but my people wants me. My people wants me.
Yeah.
They use that. Togo continually use that information landscape to say the people want him because he always win election landslide.
Yeah.
Opposition contest election, they are oppressed, they are suppressed, in fact reduced to nothing, to the point that in Togo today is a one-party state. And gradually, your country is moving towards a one-party state.
Yeah.
And where the president can easily send a message to National Assembly to say, I want this done. It is done. Imagine in Nigeria, where they talked about 2/3, they didn't say voice, but it was done.
Yeah.
It was voice. The yes
have it.
Gradually, democracy is going down. Unknowingly, because you're in power, you thought that what you are doing is the best, and that's what people don't understand, that when they sit on this side, there are things on the other side that others are not seeing. So the things I see now, like I'm seeing now, the things you are seeing, you watching me, is different from you are looking at a box. But I'm seeing you from here. Yeah. You see, the narrative is you must understand the views of each one. For instance, what I see, what I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
I'm seeing something.
Yeah.
But you're not seeing it. You are seeing something that I'm not seeing. But what our politicians have learned to do is to see the things without seeing them.
Yeah.
For instance, they can easily brand you. All of those who are talking that the economy is not good are opposition.
Yeah.
Because we won them in a landslide election.
Yeah.
Côte d'Ivoire is going for a 4th term in office. When the push for 2-term limit began, he accepted. Ouattara accepted and said, okay, I'll put a term limit in the constitution. But since it's now term constitution, I need to contest. It became 3rd term.
Yeah.
And he said I was not going to contest for the 4th term. He's back now and he's contesting in election, I think October and November this year.
Yeah.
Go to Benin. Benin has done 10 years. And he has said that, well, I am not going to contest again. However, there are people that cannot be president in this country.
Yeah.
That the opposition logo look like fire. Yeah. They want to burn this country. So indirectly telling you that opposition will not win.
Yeah.
So he has to pick up the one that he wants. Go to Guinea-Bissau. Umbalo suddenly realized that he said he was only going to go once and it's okay. He has pinned down somebody who should be president.
Yeah.
But suddenly realized that no, it's not time to go. But it's his constitutional right to go for a 2nd term. But because it's his constitutional right, he had single-handedly stopped everything that looked like governance in Guinea-Bissau. The judiciary now answered to him. There is no, in fact, he dissolved parliament. One man dissolved parliament.
We dissolved parliament in River State.
Yes, so that was a statewide, and the constitution provided for a state of emergency. There are conversations around that. That's why I use the word voice vote.
Yeah.
So when you use, we call it civilian coup. Because when we look at military coup, people are not talking about the civilian coup.
Yeah.
Civilian coup is a challenge in West Africa. And it's the pattern of democracy.
And a bigger challenge.
Yes.
Because when you have a single actor, maybe like in Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Guinea, Conakry, you almost have a focus. But when you have a state captured by an elite who, if you don't belong, you can be demonized, you can be arrested, you can be, even killed. It's scarier in my view. And this is where people say, I'm being sympathetic to Ibrahim Traore. I'm looking at, for example, this is not West Africa, but our next door neighbor in Cameroon. If you've done 43 years, you are positioning your son to take over, or at some time...
in case he go over 100, he will continue with president.
Yeah.
We don't know when he leaves.
Yeah. This man only just wobbles around and doesn't recognize himself.
Yes.
But he's still the president, and he's still the darling of the French and all of that. Why do we have what we have when we have an ECOWAS? Even though people have argued also that ECOWAS is a monetary and economic thing, more than democracy.
Okay.
That there has been that argument that, well, maybe it's because we're looking at economic community of West Africa.
Actually, ECOWAS has gone beyond that. ECOWAS is a protocol on good governance and democracy. The truth of the matter is that ECOWAS cannot intervene in your state because your state is sovereign.
ECOWAS that threatened Niger with Chiani, wanted Chiani, when Chiani took overthrew Bazoum.
Yes, because you know what happened? Because there is a no to military coup by way of an accord.
Yes.
So they made a mistake. As a military-minded individual, I'm speaking to you.
Yeah.
I would not have gone public to be talking about military invasion. I will invade. Clear them out, yes. So the moment you put that conversation in the public, you allow for debate. And once you allow for debate, that's not military. But ECOWAS will need to do the democratic part. And that's why they got their hands burnt.
But they had not also invaded the other countries, Burkina Faso and all those who were...
So, but it was your president who was not present in Niger. Bola Ahmed Tinubu was not chair of ECOWAS when Niger coup happened. So before him was other chair of ECOWAS who placed sanctions on Burkina Faso and Mali, and eventually said you can't participate in this process. It also happened in Guinea Conakry. You can't participate. However, their ministers still attend the ministerial meetings. The ambassadors still attend the ambassadorial meeting, but they just don't attend the heads of state, heads of authority meeting. That's the only place. By the time Mali came, by the time Niger coup happened, you will expect that pressure will push Niger to the wall. But they got support from Burkina Faso and Mali. And that was what led to the configuration of Alliance of Sahelian State. That way we share borders, we can easily quickly organize. An injury to one is an injury to all. You strike one, we strike you. And for that thing to now happen, so ECOWAS needed to backslide to say, no, that's not the path to go. It was already wrong. Rather than engage in what they call the CCC, even in conflict, any conflict, even at home, you need a CCC. You need to consult. You need to consolidate on your consultation. Before you confront, you would have been sure that this tool has been so much exhausted. Rather, ECOWAS tried to confront and then revert back to consultation. Well, that was a weird scenario. But ECOWAS...
Some people said the chairman had just become chairman and needed to stabilize himself, so he needed to show his...
No, I think what he said was that an end to coup in West Africa. He actually said it when he took over. He took over as chair of ECOWAS, talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that the same way he said subsidy was gone, he also said military regime was gone.
Yeah.
And suddenly, there you are, boom, military regime within a month.
Yeah.
He needed to do something. He needed to say, no, I can't fail. But that just nosedive his reputation in the region.
Yeah.
That to the extent that it impacted on Nigeria as a country.
Yeah.
I mean, Captain Traoré don't value
No, he doesn't.
Not even Mali. Or,
meanwhile, this was when Sankara and all of that, Nigeria was like their darling.
You also know that that's why it pains me that Nigeria is not able to lead West Africa.
Yeah.
So don't even talk about leading Africa. Africa is not far.
Yeah.
You know, those days we used to lead Africa.
Yes.
So we are slowed down now to West Africa. We can also now lead West
Africa.
Africa.
That liberated Sierra Leone, liberated Liberia,
South Africa, all the support that went to South Africa, even in fact a lot, even Angola.
Yeah.
You see Nigeria military
Zimbabwe
going in,
Mozambique.
But those things, we are not fighting war internally. We are not able to fight war outside.
Yeah.
Our military folks, I saw some of them in the Gambia. They are still there. After the Yaya Jammeh conflict, the military guys are still there.
Yeah.
There is ECOWAS standby force in Guinea-Bissau protecting Umbalo, President Umbalo. Meanwhile, the same president who asked ECOWAS mission and the UN for West African mission to get out from the country is being protected by ECOWAS soldiers. Yeah. Sometimes you will ask yourself, what is really wrong with us as a people? Yeah. Then maybe you go back to the book written by Chinua Achebe. Is there something wrong with a black man?
Yeah.
I mean, but you and I know that there's nothing wrong with you and I.
Okay, before we go, because our time is fast spent, Wademos has commended ECOWAS for inviting the AES states to ECOWAS at 50 celebrations. Why? Is that not an endorsement of the AES states that it's supposed to be condemning it?
So when you do a CCC, that's part of a CCC approach.
Yeah.
Now we have gotten to confrontation that led to the AES. Yeah. So you now want to backslide to now begin to see a civil society action.
Yeah.
So first of all, is that when President John Mahama took over power in January this year in Ghana, we applauded him for inviting the Sahelian states.
Yeah.
In fact, he invited the government of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Only the head of state of Burkina Faso appeared. There were government officials from the other two that were present. But because they were not heads of state, there was no flag. He invited them and he began doing negotiation before he took over. He has visited. And that approach was seen to be, for me, and we quickly went on. In fact, I broke it. I think maybe arguably I can say I was the first person who broke it on Arise or so. I broke it. That we should watch this man. He is doing the right thing. It is not like these other leaders, because there's already a road, a path, a divide.
Yeah.
President Faye had gone to try to mediate.
Yeah.
But President Faye also believed in dismantling the Francophone, which means shared some relationship with the Sahel state. That enough is enough for this neo-colonialism.
Yeah.
We must put them out. But the French has their own, you may call it bad, after all. British that colonized us still control us, but covertly.
Yeah.
The indirect rule still exists.
Yeah.
But more in a higher level. Yeah. But the French will do direct, which is weird. I think it's very weird. And I don't support France. I've never supported France for new colonization in West Africa. Now, when we saw that there was going to be ECOWAS at 50, and it took place in Ghana. So what do you expect? John Mahama would have also advised ECOWAS, bring them in.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could invite Morocco, you could invite the United States. Yeah. Why don't you invite our neighbors?
Yeah.
That's probably, okay, we say, okay, this is an opportunity. You have to leverage an opportunity. As far as Wademos is concerned, this is an opportunity for the Sahelian state to now begin to look at, before it get to July 29th, the set date. Because if they finally exit, coming back to ECOWAS will not happen.
It won't happen. Okay, thank you very much. You mentioned Morocco. We will talk Western Sahara on another day.
Oh my God. And all of the crises in Nigeria, Mali. Yes. There are too many things happening in this region.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Austin Aigbe. It's been such fun. I hope we have settled this thing.
I wanted to ask you now.
Ibrahim Traore is not guilty of disinformation.
We have also settled it that Ibrahim Traore is to stop promoting disinformation.
Thank you so much. Guys, you who have been watching, what do you think? It's been an enlightening conversation with Austin Aigbe in the studio. Share this conversation and do let us know what you think. Is Traoré on the right path? Is democracy on the right path in West Africa? Let's know. Thank you very much. My name is Odoh Diego Okenyodo, and I'm glad to have been with you.